So briefly this evening, if we can look at a few verses from John chapter 3, look at verses 19 through 21. And this is, of course, during Jesus' conversation with Nicodemus here in John chapter 3, where he really basically gives Nicodemus the gospel, basically saying that we need to be born again, that we need to be born of water and the Spirit. But after he tells him that, he says this, and this is the condemnation that the light has come into the world, and men loved darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. For everyone practicing evil hates the light and does not come to the light, lest his deeds should be exposed. But he who does the truth comes to the light, that his deeds may be clearly seen, that they have been done in God. And so we live in this world where men love darkness, right? Where people love darkness. They seem to love evil. They seem to love wickedness, much like we talked about in Genesis even, rather than the light, rather than the good, rather than the things that we would think of as good and pure and true and righteous. And we see people practicing evil. They hate the light. They hate the gospel. They hate the idea that we would speak to them and try to, they don't really appreciate that you're trying to save their soul or you're trying to help point them in the right direction. And so they hate the light. They don't come to the light. They don't want to come to the light. That's why our churches are not over full. And as people, even looking at myself, we don't always want our deeds exposed, right? When we've done something wrong, do we want to admit we've done something wrong? Do we want to come forward? And no, we don't, right? So it's a normal reaction in a human sense, right? And just from a human standpoint without God, of course we don't want to come forth into the light to be exposed like that. So there's people in this world that, they hate the light, like they hate the gospel. But we want to make sure, focusing on verse 21, the most important thing, we want to make sure that we are doing the truth, that we are acting out God's word the way it should be, that our deeds should be clearly seen, not that we should be boasting or bragging or anything like that, but we should be setting an example that can be clearly seen, that we are doing things in God, for God, for the Lord, for His mission. And so that's really all I have for this evening. And if anyone here would need prayer or anything that we could do for you here this evening, please come forward as we stand and sing.